How many of you have been through a change in your life? Could be work, business, organization, could even be family. And how many of you have experienced change that was handled well or also handled perhaps unwell? Chances are there was a little bit of both, and there's somewhere in the middle. Some things were handled well and some things were not handled well, and you can kind of look back and have mixed feelings about the change. Nature is really good at adapting to change, but the environment is changing so fast that nature is having a hard time keeping up. Humans are having the same issue, not just with the environment, which is true, but also just with change. Everything that's going on in the world with the advancement of AI and geopolitical climates and tariffs and economies, and there's so many things, information that's coming at us. You might be in the middle of one change and something else causes you to change in the middle of that first change. And so we can kind of get change fatigue, can't we? There's a couple ways to help manage change, and there's ways that we can do it well, and there's ways we can do it unwell. I'm going to give you a couple ways to help you do it well. Number one, when you're working with other people, first thing you want to do is over-communicate, don't over-promise. Let me say that again. Over-communicate, don't over-promise. What do I mean by over-communication? Rather than having a meeting once a month about all the changes that are going on, maybe you want to meet even more than once a week. Maybe you want to meet 9 a.m. every day for 10 minutes just to talk about changes. And great, if there's no changes, you meet on Tuesday and say, guess what? There's no changes. Yay. Go, be off with you. But you want to make sure that you're communicating everything very clearly. Why do I say over-communicate? Because sometimes as the sender of the message, we might be thinking, well, we've already shared this yesterday, or wow, this seems obvious to everybody, but it doesn't. Because there can be miscommunication. People with fear and anxiety over change may mishear things, they misunderstand things, maybe they're not paying attention because they're worried about other things, so their mind is not really listening to what you're saying. So you want to make sure that there's clarity of communication. And it's okay to even say, hey, I'm going to over-communicate this, I just want to make sure that everything is really clear with everybody moving forward. Over-communication is key, but you also don't want to over-promise. If you're not sure if everything's going to be okay, then don't say everything's going to be fine. You want to build a community and a system of trust. And by doing that, what you're doing is now allowing people to kind of lean into that and be okay with that, which actually leads to the second point. So over-communicate, don't over-promise, but allow for oversharing, which means when you're having these frequent over-communicating meetings or get-togethers, other people may be sharing their fear, their anger, their frustration, their uncertainty, their anxiety, and you want to give space for that. You want to allow them to say, I'm really scared about this change. I don't know about this change. I'm not equipped for this change. I don't know how to do this if roles are going to start changing. It's okay to let those emotions come. I had an old therapist that say, emotions are just energy that passes through you. So let them have that energy pass through them. Let that energy kind of subside and calm. Recognize that they might be anxious or afraid or scared or uncertain. And you even call it out and say, I can tell you're feeling a little anxious right now. Yeah, this is a big change. Let that energy pass, and then you can say, here's what I need from you. Now you can ask them to do something to be a part of that change so that they feel like I have a handle, I have some control. Let me be careful with that word, control over change. So over-communicate, don't over-promise, but allow for overshare. And here's the third one, put yourself in a story. Tell stories of other companies or organizations or situations where people had to go through change and how they navigated it. Maybe it's a current company or organization or situation. Maybe it's something you went through in the past. Maybe it's something historical. But you want to put people into the context of the story that we're all in, of the story that your team is in. What you're saying is, hey, they went through this change, and here's what happened to them on the other side. Well, we can do the same thing. That takes the change and it puts us in a moment of time, but we're not stuck in that moment of time. Now we're actually moving through that time frame. If we see ourselves and our organization and our families as sort of moving through time in kind of a hero's journey, we know that we can get through the other side of that and say, ooh, we navigated that change. That change was not permanent. We adapted, and we were actually able to overcome and move forward with whatever that looks like. You don't want to overpromise, But you can allow people to see this as part of a greater narrative than just this one moment that you're stuck in. And the last thing I'll leave you with is, we love to be in control, don't we? At least we think we do. We'd love to control whether that person is going to leave. We'd love to control the politics of the day and the economy. We'd love to control the information that's coming our way from all over the place. But we can't control it. I heard this great quote: we control nothing, but we influence everything. We control nothing, but we influence everything. You can't control your staff if somebody's going to quit. You can't control the political climate. You can't control the advancement of AI, but you can influence yourself and those around you. You can create a space where people feel supported and that they feel seen and heard. You can influence clarity to say, oh, I can do this. These are some of the things that I can do to help create a better and more positive influence. So when you wake up in the morning, when you're leading a team, or you're taking your family through a change, understand you can't control it, but you have massive influence over it. And if you do all of these things through the constant changes that we're going through, you will be able to manage change better and come out the other side even stronger than you were before. Ooh, wait, I want to say that later. Just a sec. Pause again. Over-communicate, don't overpromise, and allow space to overshare.